but I'll tell you what, it feels like the solstice has already come because my goodness, 117 in Phoenix yesterday. What's it going to be today? It's going to be something. Let's see here. Phoenix, Arizona. It's like 100 at night last night. Yeah, going up to just 117 again. Yeah, so we're good. Hey, everybody, we're live. Welcome to the Fun Friday, JL Success Mastermind. JL is me. The Success Mastermind is all of you and me and everybody else who's watching, whether you're tuning in live or recorded. I'm glad to be here with you back in my natural habitat, which I think Mark got to notice yesterday, as did I see you, Virginia. Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing some traveling. Actually, my daughter's been doing some traveling too. She's coming back from Girl Scout camp today, doing the Girl Scout thing. And I'm excited to see her. She doesn't even know I'm back. So it'll be a surprise when mom and dad go to pick her up from wherever we're picking her up from. She's had a nice time up in northern Arizona, where it's mountainous and a little bit cooler air. But I'm glad to be here back with everyone. We've had an interesting week. It's been lots of good topic discussions. I know you all got to meet with Shannon yesterday, not to mention the CEO Freedom Challenge is underway. Today's day 2. In fact, it starts in an hour. So those of you who are subscribed to that, once we jump off of here, you can jump on that. And if you're not already on that, I can give you a link for that. So that is definitely some good stuff. Just day 1 was like breakthrough stuff for a lot of the new members. Of course, here we're all, kind of part of the choir, right? But there are people who are just considering being the CEO of their own business, right? And taking that position, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about here today. But taking that position in your business and in your life. A lot of us went through the book study, which we do every week. We went through the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And a lot of those habits also relate to, at least in my view, they relate to the reality of not just your life outside of business, but being like the CEO. In other words, being proactive, putting the first things first, not allowing those things which matter least to be at the mercy of those which matter most, right? So, or getting stuck in the thick of thin things. These are all Steve Coveyisms, which really stuck with me, apparently, right? That book had a big effect on me. So being stuck in the thick of thin things. Another CEO mindset kind of little phrase that Covey offered me was the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And I'm like, oh man, like sign me up for that. That's some good stuff, right? There's a reminder. So that being said, the main thing for me today on Fun Friday is that we get to hear from a couple of people who may have a dog or a cat or a frog in their midst, or have a joke that you want to share. Please come on down. I would love to hear from somebody. I got
Mark.
A joke. What's up there, Mark?
Couple short jokes. For those who scuba dive, I don't know, but maybe you'll get this. What type of plant are you likely to see when exiting a shore dive on a rough day?
I have no idea.
A face plant. Boom.
That's great. That's great. We got to work that into snowboarding jargon as well. That's actually a stunt that you can do on a snowboard.
And my second joke, I had to quit my job as a deep sea diver instructor. The pressure was too much.
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
It gets pretty pressurized down there. Good stuff. Anybody else here dive? Mark, do you dive? Do you do any of these? You do? Okay.
Yeah, matter of fact, we're gonna Tom. You guys met Tom. Him and I are now scheduled to go down to Bonaire. Right. Yeah, at the end of August, we're gonna go down there for a week.
Fantastic.
And, dive that island.
Wow. I've been to Bonaire. Anyone else been to Bonaire?
How is that? I'd love to know.
Oh. So I'm not a diver at all. I've never wore I've snorkeled, right? In fact, I've snorkeled in multiple, waters. Some of the most memorable, I think, would be Molokini Crater off of the coast of Maui. Really cool stuff. But I'm kind of chicken about that, like, here's like, I'm not in my domain. these animals here, some of which are really big, like this is their domain, like they're all able-bodied. I'm all like, so I like being on land, despite the fact that I was a diesel engineer on a tugboat fleet for years, and I grew up on the water, basically in New Jersey, and going fishing out in the Atlantic Ocean. I am still a bit of a landlubber, but I do have my sea legs though, and my sea card. I'm actually I don't, maybe it's expired, I don't know, but merchant marine, whatever the designation is. I remember getting that in New York City, right at Battery Park, right at the bottom of Manhattan. And we were working out of Staten Island, and so I just took the ferry over there. Anyone ever been on the Staten Island ferry? It goes across the harbor, and got my Z card. What does that have to do with what we're talking about here today? All right, face planting. I had an opportunity to go up to oh right, Bonaire. That was it, Bonaire. So in Bonaire, the Caribbean Sea, right? So it's just north of Venezuela, right? It's in the Caribbean Sea there, and you've got the clear water, like. So I like to snorkel. I don't even need a snorkel. Like just look in the water and there's the tropical fish. Just look down. Like when you're getting off the gangplank, coming off the boat, there's the fish. Like, whoa. Yeah. So crystal clear water. Um, anyway, maybe check out Aruba while you're there. Oranjestad's a really cool town. So actually, I don't even know, what ports are open at this point with the whole COVID scare and all that. So anyway, but back to snowboarding. I had an opportunity my wife and I, to go to Mont Tremblant. I may have mentioned this before, and very French, right? Quebec, Tremblant, right? They're making crepes right there out in the snow. They got the creperie going on. I mean, if you like the French stuff, this is like my first exposure to it. I've never been to France. I've been through Paris airport, but I've never been in France, which a lot of people would say, is very different than Quebec, right? Very, very different. Okay, I got it. Okay, but this was French culture nonetheless, at least to this Italian guy. And she learned how to snowboard there from a 74-year-old guy named Patrick. How do I remember this? This was probably 20 years ago, but because it had that much of an impact on me. Here's this 74-year-old guy teaching my wife. We were in our 30s at that time. And yeah, and she picked it up because of this guy, who a lot of people would assume, and I guess once you've reached that age, you could assume as well that perhaps you're too old to do certain things. Has anyone here had that consideration? I know we've got a variety of age groups here. I don't know who's our youngest member. Maybe Stefan. I don't know. I know we have kids that show up here too, right? We got LV. Right, Elvie's a minor, right? She's Star's daughter. I don't see Star here right now, but Elvie, if you're watching, I see you. You're awesome. And then we have people who are a little bit longer in the tooth, like myself, and Mark, who you just heard from. Get a little long in the tooth. But here's the thing: a lot of times people have like a complex about that. This is actually something that that I've seen on like assessments where you're, let's say, looking at a certain position or like some sort of a psychological or aptitude assessment, questions about, age, do you consider yourself, old or young, or too young, too old, to this or to that, right? And these are good questions that I think we could ask ourselves if we're considering, what effect can we still have, regardless of our age. Because a lot of times these, what I've noticed is that there's these stereotypes. Now, and we don't need to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I remember hearing some younger people talking about Facebook as if it's for old people. So here's social media, which in itself is a newer invention. When did Facebook start? I don't know. I know YouTube started in 2005. That's a 21st century creation. Okay, and that's before Google bought it and did whatever they've done to it. But that's that didn't exist back in the 1900s. Yeah, right. Some people who are watching this maybe didn't exist back in the 1900s. Okay, so think about that. Someone who was born in the year 2020 never saw the 1900s, and yet they're 21 years old, or they will be this year. 21 years old enough to drink here in the United States. Yeah, right. I can tell you, when I was 21 years old, I was fortunately already out of that phase, or what have you. In my case, it was a rather destructive phase. But I'm thinking right now about, the old German saying, "Too soon old, too late smart," right? That one. Do we own that? I'm here to tell you that we have, everyone here have so much game in us, so much, not just potential. I know that sounds a bit cliche. You've got potential. Oh, that's nice. Okay. But so much ability. I like that word even better. So much ability to realize potential, to make it real, right? What is success? The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And even if we may look back and say, boy, I squandered time. I squandered my 20s. I squandered my 30s, right? My 40s. And certainly we have wins and losses along the way. Okay. But to look back and to fixate our attention on what we didn't do, I don't know that serves us. Maybe if we look back and we say, you know what, here's a perfect demonstration of what not to do. Glenn Henderson on the, that was my binging and bonging going on. Let me turn that off. Okay. Glenn Henderson on this week's Networking Magic. I don't know how many of you were there. I know Edward was there. A couple of us were there for that. Glenn went off. He just kind of had to vent or something, because he got this guy who called him to pitch him some biz op deal or something. And this guy's such a pro, and man, he knows everybody, and I'm great. Look at me. And it was repulsive to Glenn. Right. And so he got to vent. He got to vent a little bit about that. And his conclusion was, or I guess my conclusion, because I chimed in as well, was, wow, you just got free mentoring. Here's what not to do. Right. And Glenn had mentioned that. And I was like, yeah, that's free mentoring. Right. This guy is showing you who to not be. Don't be this guy. Right. There was an old cartoon that was going around at one point. It was about this guy named Dick. It says, see, I guess Fun Friday, so it's kind of a joke. See Dick drink, see Dick drive, see Dick die. Don't be a dick was the punchline, right? So don't be that guy, right? That's free mentoring. So in that way, we could look back and we could say, back when I was a teenager, because I'm in my 20s now, right? Wow, what a ne'er-do-well. That's a word, an ancient word, actually. It means that you don't do any good, right? You're kind of taking up space. So what a waste of space I was. Okay, got it. Was the most important word in all that. That's past tense. Thank you for not affirming that in present tense, right? So I didn't say I am, but I was, which in itself is an affirmation and a recognition and an acknowledgement that I'm not anymore. Aha, right? So I got contrast now. I could see, yes, I've blundered, and who hasn't? Okay. And yes, too late smart, but guess what? Not too late actually, because here I am recognizing, my folly, right? And now making amends for that. But like truly making amends for that, amends to myself. And, if I've wronged people, of course, as well. But actually, I shouldn't assume that. Not of course. That's a big consideration for a lot of people is, sometimes I need to, for me to be able to reach and to move forward in life and to be uninhibited, I've got to go clean up my past. So I've been through that as well. Okay. And I, to the best of my ability, attempt to keep, clean hands moving forward. So I don't inhibit myself, because I'll tell you what, if you don't think you do good, you probably won't do anything. People would die to be right. I've heard it said that, the last breath of the dying man at the gallows is, I was right. That's an interesting perspective. Okay. So we can hold ourselves back by thinking that we do no good, or that we might harm people, right? If we reach, if we act, if we impinge, if we cause things to occur. This is like heavy psychological stuff. Okay. And again, the more years we go, the more opportunities we have to accumulate those losses and wins and fixate our attention on one or the other. So I'm here to say that if you're going to fixate your attention on the losses, do so for the purpose of contrast, and then get a damn piece of paper out and a pen and start writing down what the exact opposite of those things would be. Clarity through contrast. This is anything that we affirm to ourselves, or like our innermost beliefs about ourselves. Hold on a second. I'm about to sneeze. No, I'm not. I'm good. Okay. So I faked you out there. Where's the book? Where's the book? It's in my attaché here. There, this one. We're on part 4 of this. So chapter, Mandy knows. What chapter are we on? So chapter 11, 12, and 13, we're going to be covering on Monday. So be sure to consume those this weekend. And so we can get together on Monday for our book study and talk a bit more about psychocybernetics. But the idea, or one of the ideas in here, is that your self-image is actually what makes your selection. You could say, I want success, I want to make money, I want to be, the ideal mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever the role is. That is one of the roles. You've got many roles in your life, or a handful of them anyway. And I want to experience the ideal outcomes from that role. When I interact with my daughter, my mother, my coworkers, right? I want the ideal product of that interaction. And yet it's we can intellectually know that perhaps we could optimize some of our behavior and some of our responses and how we occur in the lives of others. And yet our self-image, if our innermost belief about ourselves is that ne'er-do-well from yesterday or last year or 5 minutes ago, well, that's going to make our choice for us, right? And we react rather than respond. Some of this may sound pretty basic, but as you dig into like this book and all the other stuff that we've studied, it becomes more and more ostensible. I think you can actually observe it. You can observe it, and all the stuff that we do here in this group, at least as far as I'm concerned, and what I'm interested in is what actually works in your life. Right? We're not here to just sit around and opine about the nature of the cosmos and gaze out the window and smoke our pipe or something. Philosophy is for use. It's for use, damn it, right? Not that you get to sound lofty to your friends or something, right? Does it work in your life? Or I could ask, does your life work? And in what areas could it work better, regardless of what you've done yesterday? It's a big consideration. Now we got to make some decisions about that. One decision that I've made is just recently is that I'm going to do more fun stuff, because I've got some big goals. In fact, they've grown. My goals have grown. My intent has grown and has solidified in certain areas. And on the issue of balance, which I've admitted multiple times that I'm not expert in, although I think I'm getting better at it. Yes, I am. I am getting better at it. I am, just because of what I'm about to tell you right now. Not only am I raising the bar in some of my intentions, my targets and goals with professional interests, right? Money and business and all that. I'm also raising the bar in terms of what I do as another one of my roles, which is John, just the individual, just the guy who likes to, ride Harleys and shoot guns in the desert and go be a man and, go do stuff, right? Maybe I'll hook up with Mark for the diving thing or something. Probably not, but I can watch you from the shore, right? And so I'm thinking of that. Like, when do we stop deferring life? I get that deferred gratification is a good thing, and intelligent people can entertain such thoughts, right? You know that when you plant the seed today, it doesn't mean you're eating corn tomorrow, right? That's delayed or deferred gratification. That's being the sower of seeds. That's investing in yourself and in your enterprises or what have you, or in your parenting, right? And all that. Why do we spend, let's say 18 years with from infant to adult, right? Raising a child. Why do we do that? Because of the deferred gratification of the product, which the product is a responsible member of society, an asset to mankind, someone who can get along with themselves and and navigate and negotiate their way through this crazy house that we all live in called planet Earth. Oh, Goethe said, we need not visit a madhouse to find disordered minds. Our planet is the mental institution of the universe. that guy had some nice quotes. But yeah, that's a delayed or deferred gratification type of a product, right? But do we defer everything? If not now, then when? Right? If Mark doesn't go, like snorkeling or diving or whatever now, right? When? 10 years from now, right? Which is still a possibility. But think about this. We got lots of game, so I don't care what your age is. Lots of game. I know that, Gail likes to show up in biker bars and get into fist fights, right? She shows up with the bruises. It's Gail here. Gail doesn't really go get in drunken brawls. Not really. Okay. She had a little fall the other day, but she's okay. But what can you do that you'd rather not put off? I guess I'm talking about bucket list kind of stuff. And if you're in your 20s, then you may not have these considerations, right? Because you're immortal and invincible and you're going to live forever. But, if we look, maybe it's time to like live a bit. And what's interesting about that? And you may own this or you may not own this. You may say, John, I live, my life is friggin' awesome. And I go to the beach. And in fact, we got a lot of people at the beach right now, right? We got, a handful of people on here with us right now. And we got like way, 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 way more members than that. And I get that, people catch the replays. But a lot of people are at the beach. 'Tis the season, right? And now with a lot of, things opening up, I heard that, a lot of Canada now, there's, province travel and border openings and things like that. That's good. That's good and pleasing. And we're going to go ahead and I think in some ways overcompensate for, the conditions that had been thrust upon us, depending on your jurisdiction and where you live and what the consensus is about, how things should go in the face of, viruses and what have you. Here in Arizona, it's business as usual. It's, straight up, whatever. But the idea is that we can deliberately commingle non-work pleasing activities with work. And you know what happens to the work? This is what I have found, and you can try this on for yourself, is that when I feel refreshed, I'm more productive with my work. In other words, if I could turn a switch, and I just got to remember to do this. Is that when I turn a switch, and I'll probably just have to put this stuff on my calendar, because if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. The switch says on and the switch says off, on and off. And when I'm on work, right? And when I'm off. And that's the thing that's been hardest for me. We could say workaholic, we could say, obsessed, whatever. Okay. And I do get obsessed with success. In fact, I was instructed to do so by Napoleon Hill. White hot obsession, right? That's what he talked about. That's how you get rich. Fine. Okay. But can you turn it off? I've had difficulty with that. So the question of balance comes up. What I find is that when I do experience that, my goodness, right? How much more am I getting stuck in the thick of thin things? Like Covey talked about, getting stuck in the thick of thin things, or failing to keep the main thing, right? So let's say you've got a problem, right? Maybe you've experienced this in your life. I can tell you, I experienced it as a mechanic, right? When I was diagnosing and repairing machinery, okay? And I'm working on this machine and it just ain't coming out right. And it's just difficult and frustrating, right? And then I turn off in my brain, I go away, let's go eat, or let's do something else, okay? And then I come back and the machine comes together, repaired to specifications, easy flowing experience. Have any of you experienced that? Like in some frustrating action that wasn't coming to fruition, and then, you not abandoned it, but you took a pause, you turned off. And then when you came back on, you had different perspectives, more clarity, less encumbering from, the ancillary things that aren't the main thing. And I'll tell you what, in our work, I think pretty much everyone here has some sort of online business, right? We got e-commerce going on, we got networking, we got online business going on. There's a whole lot of subjectivity to that. There's a whole lot of ancillary, right? So not the main thing, right? There's appendages, and there's all these little rabbit holes we can go down, right? Not to mention shiny object syndrome. Oh, there's one, right? Oh, here's the magic system, or here's the easy button, or here's the new snake oil, and this is going to make your life wonderful, right? And there are people who pitch that stuff, and some of it's workable, but a lot of times, distractions. That is the number one thing that costs corporations money. Distractions. I think in the age of work from home and Zoom and all the stuff that people have been doing over the last year and a half, people have had the opportunity to manage their time better and to avoid distractions. They've had the opportunity to, but have they? How many of us are more productive now than we were before any of the COVID stuff, or before you engaged in online business out of necessity because your other thing, the job went away, the restaurant, the cubicle, the whatever, right? How many of us are more productive now? This would be a good barometer of, are you distracted, or are you more on purpose, right? And that's why I like looking at statistics. Actually, I don't like looking at them, but I do anyway. Sometimes they're nice to look at, sometimes they're not nice. And I like to be in the heat of battle, not necessarily looking at charts. Okay. But you got to know where you're going. You got to know what's working. You got to be able to optimize, right? And so if the answer is yes, I am more productive. Okay. And that could be in terms of earned income, or having that business that you said you were going to start for the last 10 years, you finally did. So yes, and that way you're more productive, right? So these are all things you can acknowledge about, your own success and where you're going, and give yourself license to then go ahead and turn off deliberately and now go do the snorkeling thing or something, right? So, but if we're just in the thick of it, right? Like I'll do a little bit of work. I'll watch some kitten videos on YouTube. I'll do a little bit of work. I'll get distracted with Facebook. I'll do a little work, right? The whole friggin' day is gone. And what did I actually produce? So that's where I'm going here. Again, this doesn't directly relate to age, but I think with age, you get a bit more discernment on these things because your time appears to be more valuable, right? Less guaranteed, let's say guaranteed, right? But we start to value our time more, or we could do that, or we could just neglect the whole thing and abandon, whatever. I don't think that's anyone here though, right? I think we value our time. So can we be very deliberate with that time? And I know you might be thinking right now, well, yeah, of course, John. And we talk about this all the time, the idea of getting stuff done. How do you have more free time in your life? You get stuff off your calendar. You get stuff done. You complete what you start. That's how you get more time. And you don't encumber yourself with the distractions or half measures, because as Parkinson's law states, work expands to fill the time allowed for it. So now if I'm putting on my calendar, off button, go ride Harley, right? Go take daughter to water park, right? If those things are on my calendar, I don't have time to screw around, with all the ancillary stuff. And so I'll use whatever time I have here more efficiently, because that's the other part of it. We have effectiveness, and then we have efficiency. Yeah. Now, look, I'll say this, and I want to wrap up. I'd love to hear from some people and your perspectives on this. But there are times when it has been evident to me that it was time to cut bait. Right? What's the old saying? Fish or cut bait. So the fishing wasn't happening. Right? Like there were no fish, and so I can keep throwing the nets out there, so to speak, and pulling up nothing, or I could do something else productive. There are times when I've had to do reluctantly. I've had to do that because once I decide I'm going fishing, I'm going fishing. Okay, metaphorically speaking. That's another consideration that people could have. I know Evelyn and I had this conversation Evelyn's not on here right now, but we've had this conversation about, okay, so which thing are we going to pursue 100%? Right? We've got lots of opportunities in life, and the fox that chases two rabbits catches neither. Okay, I'm a really highly skilled fox. I can probably catch two or three. Okay, but add four or five, right? So I guess put on your cape and mask if you're going to chase a couple of rabbits. But the idea that we are going to really hit something hard and build momentum, and then get into other stuff, right, and build momentum there. That's an idea that Evelyn and I talked about, and she had made a decision that she was going full throttle in the case of e-commerce, right? She's doing e-commerce, and in fact, I'd love to hear from Evelyn. Maybe she'll be on our Be Heard session, which is at 6 p.m. Eastern U.S. time today. So if you guys want to join me there, we're gonna get together again and just talk about whatever you want. But the consideration on that was that that if I really got focused on this one thing, this action, this business, this enterprise, what could I do that would then free up all these other possibilities for me? And I think that's what we got to remind ourselves about. Is the carrot in front of your face, right? I want that carrot, and it's a tasty damn carrot, and there's nothing vague about it. I know exactly what I want. I know why I'm showing up, why I'm walking through fire, why I'm doing all of this, and I'm going to do it. Damn it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get it done, because all of this effort that you're putting in with whatever you're putting in is for naught if you don't take it to completion, if you don't take it to a done. The anatomy of success itself is completing what you start. Period. Okay, so if you're on the path, damn it, let's be on the path. If you're cutting bait, all right, cut bait. So I'm thinking these are decisions that I got to make in my life. And look, I just had to make one. In fact, I had to make two. In the past couple of weeks, I had to make two. I had huge, tasty opportunity number one come up. And it was like, John, we need you on this job. John. What do you need? Anything you want. I said, I want that. They said, you got it. All right, I'm in. And then there was another one that came up just a couple of days ago, a different like marketing group. And they were like, John, we got this thing. It's tasty. I'm like, man, I just took on another project. I'd love to hear about it, but right now I'm not going to hear about it. There's an opportunity cost to everything. Right? How many things can you say yes to? So, and look, I say this with love and expectancy that every person here can attract big, tasty opportunities to yourself. Do you have the bandwidth to tackle them, because you're not diluting yourself over here with distractions and stuff? Do you have the bandwidth to tackle opportunities when they show up? And they will. Okay. I know you're all very able people. Why? Because you wouldn't be hanging around with me if you were like a victim of life or something, or woe is me and all this kind of stuff. Edward, right? Edward, who's one of our newer members here, only a few months, right? He's, I remember the other day he said, I just had 2 sales, bam, right? So after, kind of dragging ass for however long, and this wasn't working and that wasn't working, here comes newfound momentum, right? Are we surprised by that? I'm not. Of course he just made 2 sales. Of course he did. It's just the beginning, right? Expectancy. But not if we're diluting ourselves with, every shiny whatever. Anyway, I got to stop talking, and somebody else needs to talk now. Who wants to talk about how you're creating balance in your life, which is a topic I almost never bring up. Please come on down. I think we already heard from one person, Mark, right? He's going, is it scuba diving? Is it actually with like a tank? Yeah, Mark, could you just, yeah. All right. Thank you. Tank, wearing a tank on his back, I guess on his back, that or down his pants or something. I don't know where the tank goes. All right. Who else has some thoughts to share on this? Floor's open, please. How are you balancing your life? What do you like to do that's fun? Cyril, I know you like to dance. Hopefully you are dancing. What's going on, Cyril?
Hi. How you doing? No, I'm not doing my dancing or my singing at the moment. I'm just trying to work on short-term cash at the moment, so work. But before I start, I thought maybe I'd start with a little joke. Excuse the if you'll excuse what it might infer. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked a little surprised.
That's great.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I must admit I've been working on balance for a long time because I noticed when I was a young man that I had that there was a little. I had a certain amount of anality that wasn't helpful. That I realized that was going to choke me, and I realized in terms of my relationships, if I used it in relationships, it was going to muck me up for life. So I started working on it then and trying to push it out. And in so doing, things like when I get, but I remember actually as a child, one of the things that really taught me a lesson was I remember my sister used to wind me up, and I real and as a child I realized that I was going way too far and I couldn't help myself. And then at that point, I realized that I had to just cut it. I had to cut out whenever she did that. I had to literally. So when I eventually managed to start doing that mentally, I found the roles reversed. The act of me stopping that thought and moving away from it not only helped me, it actually wound her up. So I had a double whammy, if you pardon that. But I realized, yeah, getting space in my head has always been something I worked on. Hence the reason why I learned to meditate a long time ago, and it was very useful. So yeah, I've been working on it a long time. I've got lots of ways to use it, but there's still ways that I need to do it. I think I can find more ways that I need to sort myself out. But at least I have a form of attack to it anyway. It's been good to have those to really, because when life gets really uptight, it's nice to have a way to bring yourself out of it, because otherwise, as happens to so many people, you end up going down the hole, and that's not a good place to be. So yeah, so having a way to channel that is always a good idea.
So it's so true. I've recognized that for myself, having a way to channel stuff and it was actually in Cyril. I don't know if you're on Books for Britain with Mandy on Wednesdays. I know Mandy's a couple chapters behind where we're at, Mandy and the British crew over there. But one of the things in the psycho-cybernetics, one of the principles that he brought up, my goodness, where is it here? It had to do with letting off steam. It had to do with like a steam pressure relief valve in here, and how that is necessary, right? And if we deny ourselves that, or if we allow society to deny ourselves that, which by the way is, I think, rampant right now. There's a whole lot of professionally offended people who are offended by everything, and how dare you say anything and express yourself or be who you are. I don't subscribe to that, but yeah, what do we do to let off steam? And therefore be aggressive. There was a part in here where we talked about aggression, right? Which is important, right? We attack our goals aggressively and all that, but the aggression of, stifled expression, things like that, that's obviously not productive. So, I mean, I'll tell you, one of the things I do is I get on the bike, right? Or you guys know I listen to really extreme music, right? I love it. I love it. I could sit there and be totally relaxed, grab a cup of coffee and listen to, Cannibal Corpse or something. And I love it. It's great. So
no, I can't do that.
Okay.
I'm afraid your music would would actually do the opposite for me.
You can't dance to that, though. Actually,
well, it's not about that. I mean, I'm a jazz lover, and I like melodies.
I love jazz too. Yeah.
But rock is. I mean, apart from what's it called? Progressive rock is actually is a form of jazz. but I must admit, metal,
For everyone.
metal for me, it's more for me. Metal is about anger.
Right.
Metal,
A lot of people get that from it. And
yeah.
I totally don't. I don't. Yeah, like at all. It's just like,
I
wow.
find it very unsettling. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's like explosions going off in your brain. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Plus, also the use of phase and turning it up to the highest amount, so to weaken your hearing.
Oh, volume is a choice, but yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, brother. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
All right. Who else wants to come on out here today and talk about how you let off steam and create balance in your life? Anybody else? Nobody else has any balance in their life? Oh my goodness. I must be the mentor here. I've arrived. Mandy. Hi, Mandy.
Hi, John. Can you hear me?
I sure can. And you're a
Oh,
busy
good.
lady, right? So I'd love to hear your balance. What do you do?
Well, I'd hate to disappoint you, but I don't have any balance in my life at the
Well, I'm
moment.
glad we took up the topic then. How apropos. Right.
And I haven't for quite a while. So, yes, that letting off steam sounds quite good to me. I tend to. I was like this before with my other job as well, and I did take some of that, and I've been really looking at things, how I can change things, how I can do things differently, and keep doing that. Because I would just sit here for like 6 hours and just be on the system before when I was doing my old job, but that was because everything was on the computer. And even so, what I'm doing now is all on the computer, but you can get stuck in the same spot and then you stop being productive because you've been sitting there for too long. So I'm looking at changing that sort of thing. But also, I think with lockdown over here, I think we've got out of the habit. There's two things for me. We've got out of the habit of going out because we've been stuck in for such a long time with things not being open. So now we've got to get back into it. But that means building that into a work day, not just leaving it to the weekend. So it's like trying to balance it in to the times that I have for the work. The other thing is my son's getting older, so he doesn't want me around so much now. And a lot of the times we did things together. So he's going to Thorpe Park next week, which is somewhere we usually go to. And he still wants to go with me, but he's going next week with his friends. This is one of the big roller coaster places over here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I know you
but
went
I've
with
got
him to was it like a skiing kind of a deal or snow something, right?
Snowdonia.
Yes,
That was the mountain.
That's not like a
Yeah,
work
yeah.
activity.
He came there to me, but he climbed up the mountain. But he kept saying, "Come on, Mum, hurry up!" And I'm saying, "I want to rest. I want to rest." He was going, "You've got 20 seconds." It's like, no, I need more than that. Just remember, I'm 40 years older than you are. but he's going with his friends next week. But we both got tickets. This is roller coasters. So I did offer to him that I'd go as one of his friends because he needed 6 people. I said, "I'll dress up as a child and I'll come with you." But no, he didn't want that. He doesn't want his mum around, which is completely understandable. So, but it means that I've got to try and do more on my own. It's not so easy for a female to go out there and just go to a pub and sit in a pub when they're open, or even the walks around here. I don't feel safe in the middle of nowhere, which is quite sad, but I don't. So I don't really want to walk around the housing estate. So I don't really want to walk into the middle of nowhere. I was listening to more music for a while. I don't listen to heavy metal. I do like some rock, but usually it's 70s and 80s, and I need to do more of that. Heavy metal. I like Meatloaf. I love Meatloaf, but that's not really your heavy metal, is it?
Oh, that's funny.
But I need to stop. I did say this morning I'm going to stop listening to the news, and because I listen to too much politics and news, and I do get strong opinions, and I do get annoyed with it, so I need to stop doing that, I think. But you did say something else. I said about have you got it when you're frustrated and you leave something and go away? And I have done that a bit more, but I did do that yesterday. So I was getting frustrated with stuff yesterday. As you know, I'm trying to create a website, and I'm trying to create the website in Kartra, and it all looks really easy to do when you look at all the bits, but when you try and put all the bits together, it's like, and I was just not in a creative mood, and the cat kept coming up and sitting on my paperwork, and it was like, oh, I just can't do this. So I did leave it, and I went away, and I come back today much more, and I found the thing I needed, and I'm working through it, and it's coming together. And I was just not in creative mood. I think I was too tired. You can't do things when you're tired, and you just have to walk away from it. and it does help. Otherwise you just sit there and whatever you do won't necessarily be what you wanted in the end, so you end up repeating it.
Right.
So yes, people need a good balance. And when you first started talking to us, I got the feeling you didn't like going away and doing other bits, so it's good to hear that you're doing it. And yes, we need to take that model and go and do more ourselves, and I'm working on it. I'll
Right.
get there, definitely,
Right.
somehow.
Well,
Might take a while.
well, okay, but the point is that you've got the intent and you're moving in that direction. So, the successful person is the one who's taking deliberate action towards a known self-determined goal. That's it. You're a success. But and if you'd like, I could tell you a joke about meatloaf.
Go on then.
So, yeah. So this is back in the 1980s. Yeah, 1980s. And the Meatloaf album Bat Out of Hell was,
Yeah.
I guess, popular, right?
I love that one.
Right. And so I grew up on the New Jersey shore, right? So New Jersey, just south of New York City, goes down, the Atlantic City is down there. And so I grew up like right there on like a beach town. And we had what's called a boardwalk. I don't know how many of you could picture this, but it's arcades and attractions and stuff right on the beach. And there's the boardwalk. And so one of the attractions is like a game where you put the money on a color or on a certain thing, and they got a spinning wheel that goes around, right? And if it lands on your color or it lands on whatever you got, then you win the prize. And the prizes in this particular attraction was cassette tapes, right? For different albums, popular music. And so this guy I was with, he won, right? And he was like, I don't know, that looks cool. It was Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. And so we're driving home, and he puts it in, right? And starts playing Meatloaf, and sitting there with this other guy, and they're listening to it. I'm like, what the hell is this? And he's like, you just won it. It's Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. And he ejected it, and he said, now it's Bat Out of Car. He threw it out. Bat Out of Car. Oh my goodness.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you, Mandy.
You're giving it more time, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got Cyril again, and we got Edward. Cyril, do you dance to Meatloaf? Is that what you do?
No.
Right.
I quite enjoy Meatloaf because he's a great singer. But no, dancing to him is not really my thing, really.
Right.
I love. I used to love doing classical dance, but yeah, my favorite was definitely dancing Latin. Yeah, I love the mixture of jazz and Latin beats. So yeah,
Listen, man, I like. Let me interrupt. I'm sorry, but I like any music that's done like really done, like done
Yeah.
to the max, like Beethoven.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's like
I'm with you.
whoa.
Great art is great art, no matter who.
Like holding
yeah.
nothing back, holding
Exactly.
nothing like Rush, right? You talked about progressive rock before. Neil Peart sadly is gone, but like wow, like that, bam, right? Nothing vague about that. That is full throttle, and metal, of course, right? Not all metal, but well done metal. Go ahead, you were saying.
No, I'm with you. I mean, to be honest, I love great art in whatever form. Because to be honest, I just get a rush myself. Yeah, I kind of I can feel my eyes wide open. The joy, right, when I hear or see something beautiful. Yes, I get a kick out of that, definitely. I mustn't, but I'm quite lucky because my artistic streak is I've always worked on it, so I've always got ways to channel my energies, whether it's dance, singing, which I generally used to do more of before lockdown, but I can't get back to quite yet. But also kind of things like making clothes and things and stuff. So I've got loads of ways to vent my creativity that other people may not have quite the same amount. Also, it's funny, it's interesting. For example, making clothes is not a big thing to me because I used to watch my father make clothes as a child. And when he gave me his sewing machine.
No, I heard about sewing machine and then we lost you. Cyril, you there? You were just about to tell us about sewing. Cyril? Someone must have rang him on his phone. He probably doesn't even know he's muted right now. He's
Oh,
probably-
sorry. I
There
think
he
I did inadvertently muted myself without
There you
realizing
are.
it. Sorry. When I
Go on
was a
your
child, because my father was a tailor, I used to watch him make clothes. So, and then when I was older, he gave me a sewing machine. So I never had a fear of making things. So some of the first things I used to do was make make costumes for my shows and things, and or bags. I used to like making bags. It got me out of some really hard times with money. I used to make bags for Christmas presents and things, which was really handy. So, yeah, I've got lots of ways to vent, so I'm quite lucky in that sense. It's just about working on the other areas that I've done more of now since lockdown, working on my business stuff.
Well, Virginia says, Cyril, the best tailors have always been males. So there you go. Maybe you got some tailor in you.
Well, I've been working on a design in my head that I need to do for a jacket, but we'll see how that turns out in the end.
Good.
Eventually, it's
Very
been
good.
cool.
Thank you, Cyril.
Thank
glad you're
you.
here. Also, I see some people kibitzing in the chat about Las Vegas and getting together, and England and getting together, doing some regional stuff. Yes, October, Vegas. We're gonna have a little meeting on that. Not right now because we're talking about this, but yes. So those of you who are looking to the Western U.S., October is on the map. Why don't we go to Edward next, and then I think we're going to wrap up because we got CEO Freedom Accelerator coming up. I'm going to put a link in the chat for that. There you go. Edward, you've got the floor, sir.
Good deal. Just wanted to make a comment on this balance thing. First of all, the group that you need to listen to is Steely Dan and Don't Fake It. That's who I like. And also Kansas. Kansas is very good. Carry on with the sun, that sort of thing. But about balance, here, since I've been involved with this mastermind, I've learned about the AOMA scenario, the all-out massive action.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've gotten into as far as the momentum scenario. And, the fruit of the labor comes after you establish the habits and you establish the purpose and all that sort of thing. And that's what's been going on with me. But at the same time, and you have to understand that you got to step out of that sometime. And sometimes life events make you step out of it. Yesterday, I heard negative news in terms of some people I went to high school with that have gone to be in another realm. And it's kind of you're taken aback by it because these are people that you grew up with, that you knew and you still knew, and nothing was wrong with them. Then all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. So, and what it does, it gives you back the purpose that you had, and it makes you realize, like you said, that what is it? Too soon, old, too late, smart. I mean, you got to think about all that, because no matter what you've been through, no matter where you've gone, you've got to understand that it was all for your good, and you got to glean from it what was very positive about it. And other than that, you just have to let it go and keep on going and get back in balance. It's called equilibrium. You'll be fine.
Wow. And the acknowledgement of the limited time, right? So my condolences on your loss. When my wife went through cancer treatment, right, 1.5 years of all that, do you think she suffers like BS and distractions now after going through that? Yeah. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I put the link for the CEO Freedom Challenge, right? So day 2 starts in 6 minutes. So if you guys want to tune in there, and in the meantime, I will see you all at 6 o'clock. I will not be on the CEO Freedom thing because I got another appointment. She'll be holding down the fort. I will be on tomorrow and Sunday though, so I will be speaking then. So you guys have an awesome time. If I can do anything for you in the meantime, you know how to reach me. And then if you would like, show up at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be here to listen to whatever you got to say. Maybe we could even talk a bit about Vegas and trips, right? Because I got some ideas on that, and it's going to be fun. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye for now.